Good to have the guys back. Man, you look at this team that we're about to play, and a lot of respect for their coaching staff. I think O'Connell, he was the coach of the year last year for a reason. He always has his guys playing, and they are they're in all these one-score games, and they usually find a way to come out on top of them. Got a lot of respect for Flores. He's done it at a high level now since he entered the division. Gives you all kinds of problems. You got to be on your mess for all 60, 70 plays on offense to have a chance, and it's as mentally fatiguing as it is physically fatiguing for our guys. So quite a challenge. They do a number of things really well. We're 0-2 in the division. They're 2-0 in the division right now, and we're going up to their place, which is a very hostile environment. It'll be loud, and we got to be able to handle those elements. So really excited about the opportunity here for our team this week. I'll open it up.
What do you notice as the most marked difference between the offense you took into the season opener and the one that you're seeing now?
Well, we found out a lot about ourselves over the course of the season so far. We're a different team than we were week one, and so is Minnesota. This will be a completely different matchup as far as I'm concerned. I have the trust level is grown for a number of players within our coaching staff. I think we really can hang our hat on a number of guys now at this point and feel really good about what we're going to get on game day. And so, and then you look at offense, we're running the ball a little bit crisper and cleaner. I think the backs have a better feel for what we're asking them to do. The O-line has started to gel. I think Caleb's got a better understanding of what we're getting done. And then on defense, it's really the same thing. I think the longer you're in the scheme, the more comfortable you are in terms of what the coaches are asking to do. I think we've up front done a better job of trying to play physical and shed blocks. And that's got to show up here for the second half of the season.
What creates the most strain mentally?
Well, I'm sure Flo would tell you that it's not that much defense for them, but when you're on an offensive perspective, it just seems like a lot of variety of fronts and coverages and personnel groups, and so he does a good job mixing everything up, and each week's a little bit different. He has a different flavor. He played us a certain way week one that was a little bit different than what maybe you would have seen the last couple years, and then you look at the last few weeks, he changes it up, and so a lot of it's based on who he has at his disposal as well. Week one they didn't have Harrison Smith, and so guys are in, they're out. Van Ginkel's in and out. Renard, we'll see where he's at here this week, and so he does as good of a job as anybody making sure he puts his guys in a good spot and keep the opposing play caller guessing.
Yes, how challenging is that too? If you're trying to anticipate something, it doesn't happen, and then having to adjust to it.
Yeah, no, I think it takes me back to my early days in Miami when you'd go against New England. You just didn't know what they were going to be each week. Some weeks they would come out and throw it 50 times. Other weeks they would come out and run it 50 times, and same thing with their defense. You just didn't know what front they were going to major in and what they were keying in on. And I think a lot of those elements, how he was brought up, probably carries over to his philosophy now. And it shows up. It shows up for him. And so, it does create issues as you're trying to game plan, because you want to make sure you're sound. You want to make sure that you got guys accounted for. And yet, if you do too much, you run the risk of guys thinking too much and they start playing slow, and the defense feasts on you that way too. So that's the challenge, and that's the balance that we're trying to strike here this week.
How much of that is him being Houdini? How much of that is your own line, and how much of that is scheme for you guys trying to put him in the best position possible?
Well, I think having a healthy running game certainly helps the pressure number. Because when a defense has respect for stopping your run game, then it certainly slows them down in their transition to pass rushers. So that could be part of it. But I think I've got a lot of confidence in our O-line right now and what they're doing. We've got some really clean pockets throughout. Tight ends are a big part of our protection scheme. So are our backs, and even our receivers get involved occasionally with our drop back pass game as well. So I think it always starts there, but there's no mistaking what Caleb can do. He feels it, and the way he evades I think it's second to none.
A case where do you think he's focusing more
in those high pressure situations? Is it possible that he's actually thinking more and processing more in those scenarios because he just has to?
I don't know. That's a question you can ask him, how if he changes over the course of the game. I don't notice a difference in terms of demeanor or sideline communication at all. I think he's been pretty consistent throughout, staying locked in and dialed in and trying to just execute whatever comes to hand. But in those particular cases, you're in more drop back pass mode, and I don't want to say he's got a higher comfort level there. But yet that it is probably where he's had the majority of his snaps over high school and college and now in the NFL. And so there probably is just a little bit of, okay, this is my wheelhouse, and I know we're going to throw it, and defense knows we're going to throw it, and yet I can go ahead and make a play. So there might be something to that.
How do you define living in the known? Because it's something that a lot of the players are uttering to us when they talk about these games and the opportunities they've had.
Yeah, I can't take credit for that because really Antoine Randall is such an integral part of what we're doing. Really, the entire coaching staff is doing a phenomenal job. They really are, and yet L's got an opportunity each week on Fridays to come up and talk with the team in the team meeting, and that's something he kind of struck on a few weeks ago, and it's really started to carry through for us, where he's talking about you start with this hope going into the season, and then you start pulling away with some of these wins, and you start believing in what we're doing and the progress that we're making as a team, and then you get the next step is knowing what's going to happen next. And so it's really, I think he's been the one behind that movement. I'm glad the guys have really resonated with what he's said. It's kind of the vision of this coaching staff. You bring in all these guys with so many different experiences, from playing at this level to coaching here for a long time, and I think each and every one of them has had a profound impact on our team.
Recoveries and how far away they might be from.
Yeah, I think we should be able to get them back at some point, end of the season here, but kind of to be determined on when those clocks will start clicking here. I just saw Jalen in the weight room, so he seems like he's excited about where he is right now, and he's hopeful that he's going to be able to be out on the practice field here in the near future.
Tyler, you initially said short. It would seem like it would be a short-term IR. Is it?
Correct. We're still thinking that.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still thinking that. So I can't tell you exactly when, but hopefully in the near future here.
It's like, what from week 1 to now, how has he gotten better at keeping himself out of those situations, whether it's holding on to the ball, to getting rid of the ball quicker, not holding on to it as long? Are you seeing something that's helping him help himself when he's under pressure?
Oh, shoot, I don't think so. I don't know. I think he's getting more confidence with the guys up front. The more he's out there, the more he sees it on tape. There's a few chances in there too that we stay in there just a tick longer and we deliver that football even when the house is burning down. And there's a couple last week that we felt that way. There's a couple of the week before that way as well. So when we talk about it with him, it's, you don't want to take away that natural instinct that he has, but yet there's a little bit of, man, if we stay in here, I think this unlocks even more of your game, and we'll have some more explosive plays potentially. And so we're working through that, and I think he's right on track with where we had hoped we would see him at midseason right now.
When you see Caleb do some of these things at the last second, spin, kind of backwards out of the way, in your head, are you sitting there going, "Oh, look out," or are you living and dying with, he backpedaled 6 yards in the middle of a scramble the other day?
I'm thinking I'm the best coach in America. Of a play call, wouldn't it? No, I think that's the beauty behind what we have going right now is, as a coaching staff, we try to get that primary receiver open as much as we can, and sometimes the defense doesn't cooperate with you, and so Caleb knows that if we can't get 1 to 2, or if he's feeling the pressure, that he can still make us right, and we can still have a good play. So I think that's a cool thing about where we're at right now.
Dennis is able to get through to him, and he is able to earn Dennis's trust.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got a history, and so I think like any relationship, it's not just all rainbows and sunshine all the time, but you have to be honest. You got to be direct, and I think I think all of our players respect that about our coaching staff, and I think DA embodies that. You know, he's going to tell you when you're doing it right and when you're doing it wrong, and so CJ appreciates that, and so he's only been here a couple weeks, and yet I see a really good match for our team right now, our locker room. I agree with you. I think he's got immense trust in DA. I think he wouldn't be here if he didn't feel that way about where he is in his career, that we can't help him take him to another level as well. So it's a good thing, and I think it's good for our players too. I think they're feeling this swagger, and it's starting to percolate a little bit through our whole building. So it's good.